minimum of 7 calendar days publication. Either PhilJEP's website or conspicuous place. Parang dati, 7 calendar days. Kaya lang, ito, limited na lang siya for those competitive modes. Yung limited source bidding, which is also competitive, binaba yung rango niya. In the same way as sa TOEFL biddings, negotiated procurement TOEFL biddings, small value procurement with ABC above 200,000 and NGO participation, ang publication requirement niya is a minimum of 3 calendar days. So remember yung sa 9184, all other alternative modes, 3 calendar days. Dito, ang 3 calendar days lang, limited source bidding, TOEFL bidding, small value procurement, and NGO participation. All the rest, na wala rito, are exempted from publication. So di ba mas madali? Kasi nga naman, problema na nga PhilJEPs, mas overtime ko sa bahay nyo, wala rin, ikot lang siya ng ikot. Okay. So we have this. Okay. Dati yung sa small value ng 50,000 up. Ngayon, 200,000 up na siya. Okay. Likewise, may bago na rin sa pre-bid conference. Depende sa threshold. So, ang threshold ngayon dito is if the ABC is 3 million or more. Dati ilan? 1M. 1M dati. Ngayon, 3M. Kasi dumadami yung pera nyo, Tumatas yung pera nyo, So, 1M, 3M na ngayon. Mandatory actually siya, Kaya lang, ibig sabihin nito, hindi porke 3 million above siya, mandatory siya. Pag 3 million below, wala na. Depende po sa project. At the discretion ng BAC or say, siguro at the written request ng prospective bidder, So, you may also conduct a pre-bid conference to clarify the procurement opportunity. Baka naman may questions doon. On eligibility requirements, simplified siya. Balik tayo sa dating requirement na eligibility documents would only refer to this. Yung legal eligibility niya would only be for PhilJEP's Certificate of Registration. Wala na pong iba. PhilJEP Certificate of Registration lang ang dapat isusubmit. Update, a valid and updated copy ng platinum membership sa PhilJEPs. Yung mayor's permit or others, hindi po sinusumit yan. Titingnan siya sa post-qualification. Okay? And then, sinusubmit pa rin yung statement of all ongoing government and private contracts. Then you have this statement of the single largest completed contract and computation of the net financial contracting capacity for goods and infra projects. For consulting services, importante na makita itong statement specifying nationality and confirmation that the consultant is an authorized registered professional. Because the consulting services, importante na Filipino first muna. Filipino first policy. So, the requirement is a Filipino consultant or kung wala, a Filipino consultant affiliated with a foreign firm. Kung wala talaga ng dalawa na yon, then that's the time that you go for a foreign consultant. So, yun ang conditions dyan, Okay. That is why you need this statement specifying nationality and confirmation that the consultant is an authorized registered professional. You have to take note of this requirement na on the PhilJEP Certificate of Registration na failure of a bidder to update PhilJEP Certificate of Registration Platinum membership with the current and updated supporting documents shall result in the automatic suspension of the bidder certificate. Mangyayari siya during January or February wherein procurer entities, suppliers, bidders would actually renew their mayor's permit or business permit. Or say for contractors, contractors na sometimes June or July yung pag-renew nila ng pickup license. Or say during June, May or June when all suppliers, bidders would have to submit their audited financial statements. So these are critical months na dapat aware kayo na when you try to take a look at the PhilJEP Certificate of Platinum Registration and the details na nakatouch doon, dapat at the time of bid opening, all these documents are valid. Kasi pag mayroong isang document doon na expired, even if naka-attach yung application for renewal, hindi pa pwede yan. Automatically, PhilJEPs freezes their accounts. Automatically, wala kang magagawa dyan. Okay. Sometimes, there might be instances where a prospective bidder may be allowed to submit its eligibility requirements electronically with certification under oath as to the correctness of the statements made and completeness and authenticity of the documents submitted. Pag malayo yung kuminsan, you may have to do this, but when you allow this has to be explicitly stated sa invitation to bid. Otherwise, hindi pa pwede yan. On the single largest completed contract requirement as technical requirements, bidder must have completed within 10 years from the submission of the bid or another period as stated. Hindi kailangan 10 years ito, but it may be 5 years depende sa project. Likewise, the single largest completed contract should be similar to the procurement project to be bid, whose value must at least be 50% of the ABC. Under R12009, provided you also state dun sa invitation to bid, you can also allow bidders to present a combination of contracts completed within the same period, provided that the total value is at least 50% of the ABC. In other words, kung wala silang single largest completed contract, pwedeng dalawa, combine niya, equivalent yan. The other contract should be at least be 50% of the 50%. And then on the computation of the net financial contracting capacity, ito yung sabi natin, gaano kahaba yung PC ng bidder, o gaano kalalo yung bulsa niya for him to be able to finance the project. So, this computation of a bidder's net financial contracting capacity must be at least equal to the ABC and based actually siya sa audited financial statement. So, if you try to take a look at this, we have this formula. Current assets minus current liabilities taken from the balance sheet ng audited financial statement. So this simply means na current assets, readily convertible to cash, minus ano ba yung babayarin niya, that gives him, ano ba yung available yung, ano yung gaano siya ka-liquid, times a constant of 15, dati 5, 10, 15 yan, ngayon naging 15 na lang siya, times value of outstanding or uncompleted portions of the projects. If you try to take a look at this, itong value of outstanding works, part of the bid documents submitted is a list of all ongoing and uncompleted contracts. And based from that, you have to determine ano yung value of outstanding works. Itong ibig sabihin nito, yung value of outstanding works, it's actually equal to the remaining percentage uncompleted times the contract amount. Kasi ito yung hindi pa tapos, liability pa rin siya. So, if you try to take a look dun sa statement na yon, that statement on a list of all ongoing contracts, you have the contract price, project duration, and then status. May status siya kung as of the date of bid submission. So, 85%. So, kung 85% ng status niya, mayroon pa kang 15% balance, 15% times the contract, that's the value of outstanding works. So you try to add all of these ongoing projects, plus awards, contracts awarded but not yet started, because this would actually, all of this would still be liabilities. Ibig sabihin, babawasin siya dun sa financial contracting capacity. So in other words, dapat the value for that would be equal to, at least equal to the ABC. Okay. Based on the latest audited financial statement submitted to the BIR. So ngayon, it's May 7. BIR says that the submission for audited financial statements, yung income tax returns, has to be submitted last month pa. Kaya lang parang in-extend yata siya, So, when you try to open your, have your, say, a bidding by June, make sure that what had been submitted by your bidders, where the latest audited financial statement submitted to the BIR, stamp received at the prescribed date, So, dapat yung pinakabago ngayon, Okay. Di naman ako nagbabago yan. As pa rin siya, Okay. But, you have to also not rely fully on NFCC. Well, NFCC will tell you that kaya niya to, but there are other items which also you have to consider. So let me give you this example, where a municipality awarded a 15 million heavy equipment contract to a supplier deemed financially incapable due to improper conduct of NFCC evaluation. Pag hindi nyo hinimay yung bid documents, financial documents, you might actually take NFCC for granted. You may recommend na tama siya. But closer analysis, closer evaluation will tell you otherwise. So if you try to take a look at this, yung financial statement which is submitted, sa cash niya, kasi meron siyang financial statement, which actually tells you how much cash is there. Sa balance sheet, makikita mo rin naman to. Cash niya 681,000, total assets 6.7, 6.7 lang ang assets niya. Ito yung actual, Insufficient to cover the 15 million bid price. Wala siyang inventory na naka-declare sa audited financial statement, Kaya nang back declared the bidder eligible and awarded the contract. So ano yung implication nito? Failure to properly assess the net financial contracting capacity and financial viability undermines the procurement integrity, exposes the procuring entity to high risk of contract default and project delays. Kahit sinabi ng GSO na the supplier's NFCC was qualified to enter into contract because of the NFCC, decision was based solely on the computed NFCC, which was found to meet the minimum requirement under the law. So anong implication yan with all of this? Even the NFCC shows that a company is liquid enough, but other available information suggests otherwise. So the bottom line of this is entering into contract with a financially incapable supplier may indicate that the supplier may just be a middleman kasi wala siyang inventory, kulang yung cash niya, kulang yung assets niya. It only happened na yung NFCC niya pumasa because of the multiplier na 15. Although ang 15 nga, kung isipin mo yung 15, it does not refer actually to goods, but it refers to the year of the project for infra. 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. Kaya naging ganon. So, the recommendation for COA here is the BAC must be more vigilant in the conduct of its post-qualification. Hindi lang NFCC dapat. But to go beyond the NFCC in terms of the evaluation. There might be financial financial evaluation ratios, liquidity ratios, which you can actually make use of to determine the financial capability of a bidder. Then we also have this, a new feature sa RTO 009 as regards to joint venture. So if you remember your project, yung computer project nyo, that was actually supplied via, awarded through a joint venture. But it so happened that one of the joint ventures was not IT related. Diba? I think you know kung sino yun. The third party sa joint venture, suppliers of your notebooks, hindi siya IT related. During the COVID-19, ganun din. Supplier ng medicines, vaccines. Merong isa doon na joint venture ang na-award, pero yung partner noon, hindi naman siya medical related. Okay, iba siya. So in other words, under RA 12009, it actually tries to address that joint ventures may participate provided that the primary purpose of each member must be similar or related to the requirement of the project. Kung IT, hindi contractor. Kung medicine, hindi contractor. So ganun kasimple yan, ano? Okay. And each member of a joint venture shall be jointly and severally liable to the PE in case of breach or failure to comply with requirements of the project. So this simply means that if there would be a joint venture who would be bidding, all partners of the joint venture should have similar their purpose or objectives of the business is similar to each other, similar to the project to be bidded out. Yeah. Hindi ko alam kung kasama ito sa exam niyo. So first knowledge check. Filipino ownership requirements vary depending on the nature of the procurement. For goods is at least blank. For infra, generally at least blank, but may be allowed as low as blank in special cases. For consulting, those performing regulated professional services must be blank. Any guess? Ilang percentage ba dapat ang Filipino ownership for goods? 60 ba? Wala naman actually na bago dyan. Sa R1982, 60 pa rin siya. Okay. For infra, generally at least, walang nabago sa R1984, 60 pa rin siya. But, maybe as low as mas mababa doon. Matingnan natin susunod. For consulting, those performing regulated professional service must be Filipino first. Filipino. Okay. So, again, sa goods, 60%. Filipino ownership, 60 down to 25%. Kung meron special techniques or technologies na wala sa 60%. And then for consultants, it should be Filipino first. Filipino citizens and registered professionals. Foreign consultants, saka na kung wala. Okay. For consulting services, meron ba kayong consultants, consulting services? Maybe din kayo for consulting services. Wala naman. Central office, Okay. And pasadahan natin to. Sa competitive bidding, two-stage bidding kasi actually siya. Ang first process is shortlisting. In other words, babawasan mo yung number of bidders to a manageable number, 3 to 7 consultants, kasi pag marami dyan, mahirap i-evaluate. And then the chances for winning or for being awarded the contract is very nil. So, BAC may proceed with shortlisting even if only one or less than the required number, yung 3 to 7, applies for eligibility or shortlisting. Take note of this. Yung critical criteria and numerical rating system, if you remember yung MARB, parehas yan. So, there is a criteria for evaluating eligibility, which actually considers applicable experience, qualification of personnel, and current workload relative to capacity. Ito yung tatlong criteria for shortlisting. In other words, depende sa inyo, how much would you allocate? Ilang percentage ba? Then, we have this approval of the hope on the shortlist. Hindi sa walang tiwala, but for purposes of the documentation, verification, of course, due diligence, we have this approval of BAC, or approval of recommendation of BAC of the shortlisted bidders. Timeline, we have this. Ganun pa rin, two envelope system pa rin, wala pinagbago siya. Lahat, one envelope, eligibility and technical, the other is financial envelope. sequentially opened. In other words, yung financial document will only be opened if the bidder is technically eligible and technically compliant. Okay. Deadline for submission and receipt of bids, depende sa BAC yan. Ano? Wala pinagbago actually siya. Ano? However, there might be instances that you can actually shorten that. Ano? The deadline should also consider the urgency of the procurement involved. Depende sa BAC. Ano? Okay. One thing that you have to note is, of course, bid submitted after the deadline shall not be accepted. Walang pinagbago sa RA 1984, same pa rin conditions niya. Bidders may be modify their bid before the deadline. Same conditions sa RA 1984. If they wanted to modify, they cannot retrieve their old bids but submit a new bid indicating that it is a modification. Ano? No late submissions actually of bids. Withdrawal of bid, pwede rin naman through a letter before the deadline for the submission. However, they shall not no longer be allowed to submit another bid for the same contract, either directly or indirectly. Withdrawal after the deadline shall be subject to appropriate sanctions. Walang pinagbago sa RA 9184. The same conditions. Ano? Okay, let's go sa bid security. We said that a bid security is there to ensure that the winning bidder will enter into contract and post the required performance security. Okay. It's actually a guarantee that the bidder shall enter into a contract. Ano? So under the new law, the bidder may submit either a bid securing declaration or any of these prescribed forms, cash or bank draft. However, in your bid documents, you have to indicate that any three, including bid securing declaration, shall be the choice, shall be from where the bidder shall select the appropriate bid security. So it's either cash, bank draft, bid security declaration, or BSD plus cash or security. So tatlo dapat ipapakita sa bid documents, and only one bid security shall be submitted by the bidder. Okay. Walang pinagbago sa bid validity, 120 calendar days pa rin siya. Mahaba actually siya. Because in the process, there might be instances na to clarify, say merong protest, or say merong request for reconsiderations. So the 120 days should be enough to include all those activities. Okay. Sa bid opening, walang pinagbago dyan walang pinagbago sa bid opening, but under RA 009, may requirements siyang a video, you have this ito na. BAC publicly opens all bid documents at the time, date, and place. Dati na rin siya. Ano? Not later than 1 calendar day after the deadline for the submission. In other words, preferably on the same day. Ano? And then, of course, depending on the award criteria. Ano? Kung NCRB, ang criteria, technical and financial proposal shall be opened on the same day, sequentially. Ano? Technical muna kung pumasa financial. Kung MERB or MARB siya, may pagkakaiba siya. Only the technical proposal shall be opened while financial proposal shall remain unopened and secured by BAC until the time of opening specified sa bidding documents. Kasi sa MERB, ano, you take a look at the criteria, ano, you can only open the financial if the bidders meet a certain passing percentage. May passing percentage dyan, ano. The same is true with MARB, ano. Sa MARB naman, ano, you get the highest quality before you can open the financial proposal, ano. Minutes of the bid opening shall be made available sa public upon written request. However, meron sa tayong tinatawag na dito, ano, preliminary evaluation, technical component, pass-fail criteria. Walang binago sa proseso under 9184, yan pa rin siya. Ano? No upper limit for or ceiling. In other words, you have this ABC. Ano? The ABC shall be upper limit. But, pwedeng bumaba as low as possible kung gusto nila. Walang lower ceiling, walang lower limit dyan. Ano? Okay. Bid prices that exceed the ceiling shall be disqualified outright. On the bid evaluation, let's take a look at this. Okay. Yung most economical, advantageous, and responsive bid, you consider the quality plus price. Okay. So in other words, you get the value for quality and the price. Both of these have scores, technical scores. Ano, whoever gets the highest, ano, would actually have would be the MERB. So most advantageous naman, whoever has the highest quality, ano, should actually have his financial proposal open. Ganon yan, ano. Kaya magkaiba itong dalawa na to, na dito, sa MERB, you open the quality, you open the technical and then the financial, get the score, get combined score, ano, for you to have the most economical. Dito naman sa most advantageous, you first evaluate the technical, ano, yung quality yan. Whoever has the highest gets his financial offer open. Okay. So ganun yan, ano. Let's try to differentiate this, ano. So, sa MERB, you evaluate the quality proposal using approved criteria, evaluate price proposal or who meet the minimum quality scores, ano. Rank bidders in descending order, determine the MERB, ano, hope approves or disapproves. Dito naman sa kabila, you evaluate the quality proposal, but you only open the second envelope, ano, if the highest quality, ano. So, para siyang sa consulting services, yung QCB and QBE, if you are familiar with that, ano. Doon sa MERB, ayan, ano. Itong MERB, quality plus, ayan. Quality plus price. Ano? Ito, quality muna bago price. Ayan. Okay. Okay, balikan natin yung Canva. Para at least familiar kayo. Bakit yun ang napili? Ano? Okay. This is just an example. Ano? So, you have this market scoping, which actually initially identified available design softwares. You may have Canva, you may have Adobe, or you may have open source alternative. Tatlo yan. Okay. You have to set the criteria, define technical criteria and financial weights. 60%, say technical 60%, 40% ang financial. Then you procure, you bid. Bid evaluation, you score each option against the criteria. Ano nga bang criteria? No? Pwedeng ease of use, compliance, life cycle cost. Then the award decision, select the bid with the highest combined score. Kasi MERV ka. And then you record justification for MERV use, ensuring transparency and audit readiness. So ganito example niya, no? So you actually have this weighted score formula, criteria score kung 25% sa times weight, depende sa inyo. And then you have this decision rule, award to the bidder with highest combined weighted score, not just lowest price. So as an example, Canva may score in usability and collaboration, giving it a higher MERV score than a cheaper but less functional alternative. Okay. So yan ang example ng criteria under the MERV. Okay. Ease of use, 25%, compatibility, 20%, collaboration, 15%, security, 15%, life cycle cost, 15%, value-added features, 10%. So ito yung i-scorean nyo. But how do you define this criteria? Depende sa end user, depende sa project. So you can use AI for this. Actually, madali lang siya. Take it from AI, Gemini, or GPT. It will give you the appropriate criteria. Bahala kayo sa weight. Okay. So when you try to do that, you have this criteria on one hand, you have this weight for each item, for each alternative. You actually have scores, say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. How do you go for a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 scoring? You must have is rubrics, So, and then you try to sum up all the, you try to have this cumulative score of the various criteria, and then whoever comes out, wins. And ito yung result actually niya. Canva wins under MERV because it balances usability, collaboration, compliance, and value-added features, even if life cycle cost is higher, kasi mahal yung subscription niya. Okay. For Adobe Express, for those familiar, it performs well in compliance and compatibility but loses points on ease of use and collaboration. Restrictive kasi ang Adobe. Yung open source tools, parang GIMP, if you're familiar with open source, yung GIMP. Open source tools score high on cost kasi mura siya. Walang libre, free. But falls shortly on usability and collaboration, making them less advantageous for government teams with diverse technical backgrounds. Okay. So yan ang actual result under a MERV. So in other words, unfortunately, when you try to procure ICT equipment, there is a requirement for all agencies that you must have an approved ISSP. You cannot just buy any IT equipment without an approved ISSP. This, each agency required by the ICT to have an approved ISSP, an Information System Strategic Plan, 3 years yan. It's actually an inventory of what you have versus what you intend to have vis-a-vis your strategic plans. And likewise, because all IT products, IT acquisitions should be endorsed under this SMITHI program, because it has to conform with digital transformation roadmap. In other words, you cannot just buy IT equipment. It has to be within your framework of an information system strategic plan. Because it might be na baka duplication lang siya. Baka hindi naman siya kailangan. Ano? At para mainit ha. Wala yata may aircon. Brownout. Okay. So ito yung kanina. Balikan natin kanina. Ano? So this is how you do this under the MERB. Ito yung technical proposal mo. Ito yung criteria mo. Corresponding weights. Sa financial proposal, you include total life cycle cost, cost efficiency, value for money, payment terms, local economic impact, say local vendor share. So, yan. You can actually come up with this criteria. Ano? Score this, whoever has the highest score, ano, gets the award. Okay. Sa consulting services, wala siyang pinagbago, but you have to take note na yung quality-based evaluation procedure is similar sa MARB. Ano? Kaya lang sa procurement of goods, walang negotiations na involved. Sa procurement of consulting services, there's such a thing as a negotiation, and depending on the evaluation criteria, you might allow negotiations on the TOR, methodology of work program, compensation, service facilities, financial proposal, and contract provisions. Sa quality-based evaluation, you can negotiate the financial proposal. Pwede ka diyang tumawad. Ano? But sa quality cost-based, kasi part na siya ng evaluation, technical and financial, ano, you cannot anymore negotiate on the financial, but you can negotiate on the terms of reference, ano, methodology, and all others. Ano, pero itong financial proposals. And that makes the difference between the two evaluation criteria under the consulting services. But take note, yung QBA, quality-based evaluation is similar sa MARB. Yung quality cost-based evaluation is similar sa MERB. So yun ang similarities dyan, ano? Okay. So doon tayo sa post-qualification. Sabi natin, whoever is recommended for an award, ano? Or say whoever is identified as the lowest calculated bid, or say the most economical and advantageous, or say the most economical bid, ano, gets post-qualified. So you try to inform whoever is that bidder, ano, and then conduct the post-qualification in 12 calendar days or less. Ano. So ano yung purpose ng post-qualification dito? BAC verifies, validates, and authenticate. Ano. Validate the veracity, authenticity, and validity of the submitted documents. So yung PhilJEPS niya, kasi PhilJEPS certificate lang yon, you try to verify yung mayor's permit, yung SEC registration, or the documents stated dun sa PhilJEPS registration, and see if valid talaga siya. Ano? Okay. And let me just tell you a story. I used to be a technical member of a university since 2004. Tagal yun, no? 2 decades yan. And in one of our post-qualification sorties sa Manila, ano, it so happened na while we were trying to take a look at the audited financial statement of the bidder, ano, doon sa document na sinubmit namin, we asked the original copy. Unfortunately, what was provided was another copy. So it appears that there are 2 sets of audited financial documents. One that was submitted, one that was the original. And then we asked the bookkeeper, who was honest enough to admit that sabi niya, we actually have 2 sets. Kasi pag kinumpare mo, parehas yan. Walang pinag-iba. Na iba lang yung pagdating doon sa balance sheet, income statement. All others parehas. Sabi niya, what was inadvertently submitted sa inyo, kasi nagkamali siya, was intended for, kasi mas mababa yun, ang amount niya, was intended for the BIR. Kasi mababa yung income, mababa yung babayaran, tax, di ba? So sabi, ano yung totoo dito? Ito sa isa, yung mataas. Kasi ito niya, itong mataas na yung value, that is to be used when we apply for a loan sa bank. Di ba? Mas mataas yun. So, dalawa yan. dalawang sets of documents. Ano. So ganun yan. Ano. You try to compare what was submitted with the originals. Kasi, dinisqualify namin. Kasi dalawa eh. Hindi namin alam kung ano yung tunay. Ay, parehas ang stamp, parehas ang pirma, parehas ang date submitted sa BIR, kuno. Madali lang na magbuwa ng rubber stamp, di ba? Ayan. So ganun yan, ano. We also have many cases na ganyan, ano. And sabi namin, pwede namin kayo i-blacklist. Kaya lang, tagal nun, ano. So we just advised him we just disqualified him. Sinabi namin na henceforth hindi na kayo pwedeng mag-bid sa amin. Ano. So ganun yan, ano. Dinisqualify na namin. Di na sila mag-a-appeal. Kita-kita naman yun. Ano? Kung nag-appeal siya, mas lalo mahirapan pa siya nun. Ano? Okay. So, you compare, you validate the veracity, authenticity, and validity. Likewise, especially dun sa, sabi natin kanina, example natin kanina, na an LGU, based on the NFCC results, pinasa nila, nirecommend nila, siguro kulang yung post-qualification. Hindi nila nakita na wala namang inventaryo. Although sa financial statement, wala namang declaration of inventory. Zero inventory. Okay. So, pwede nyo tingnan, ano? Kung meron talagang existing silang goods or whatever, ano? And then, of course, try to ask. Ano? You can make use of any method, internet, or say yung mga marites na contractor, pwede yan, ano? That's the best source of information, yung mga marites na contractor, yung mga natatalo, ask them for information against the winning bidder. Marami silang alam. Yan. And then you just verify that, ano? And likewise, on the presence of equipment for infra, do they have the appropriate equipment? Ano? So, pwede yung makita yan, ma-verify ownership, and so on. Ano? The important thing is to try to verify what has been submitted versus the original. Ano? Likewise, you also have to take a look at the latest income and business tax return. Anong pagkakaiba nito doon sa tax declaration? A tax declaration is actually a certificate prepared, say, months before, say, stating that wala silang tax liability. But if the bid has been conducted, say, months after the issuance of the tax certificate, ano? Then it's important that you have to verify tax compliance of the bidder via this income or business tax returns for the last 2 quarters. So you have to request for copies of this, ano? Or other appropriate licenses and permits na nakastate sa bid documents. So you cannot request or you cannot ask from the bidders documents which are not stated sa bid documents. Ano? Importante yan. Okay. Now, for infra, especially for infra or sa goods, you also have to check based doon sa list of ongoing contracts. Ano? Whether there are projects that have negative slippage. In other words, if there are projects stated there na may slippage siya, mga 10% or 15%, automatically disqualified sila. So these are things na dapat makita nyo sa post-qualification. Ano? Likewise, meron ding changes, sabi natin kanina, on joint ventures, ano? Sabi natin, all joint venture partners should have their primary purposes related to the procurement project. Kung IT, ano? Kung infra, depende yan, ano? On revised security policies, bid securities, depende siya or at the option of the bidder. Bahalang bidder mamili. Bid security declaration ba or say surety bond ba or cash? Depende sa kanila. Ano? For as long as these are stated sa bid documents. Pagdating doon sa performance security, ito yung security required to ensure that the contract is completed. Ano? This is actually posted upon award. Ano? So, it is at the discretion of the procuring entity. Baliktad yan. Ano? Bid security depende sa bidder, performance security depende sa procuring entity. Ano? Okay. Unfortunately, sa 12009, ano, mas pinaiksi ngayon yung period from bid opening up to award. In other words, you have to work double time. You have to fast track the process. Ano? Kasi the procurement process from bid opening to contract award under RA 12009 must not exceed 60 calendar days. Dati, 90 calendar days yan. Binawasan ng isang buwan, naging 60 calendar days. So, ang ibig sabihin, dapat mas alerto kayo. Mas diligent kayo. Ano? Okay. Okay. Yeah. Second knowledge check. Hindi ko alam kung nasa post, ano to, nasa pre-test ba ta? Wala. When can a procuring entity use competitive bidding? Marami kayong modes. Ano? Kailan mo pwedeng gamitin yung competitive bidding? Only upon approval ng GPPB? Or letter B, when it is determined to be the most suitable and responsive mode for the project requirements? C, only if the project involves first-time procurement of goods or services. Para may first time. A, B, C. B, walang A. Walang gusto ng A. When it is determined to be the most suitable and responsive mode for the project requirements on the concept of proportionality, fit for purpose approach. Ano? Okay. Let's go sa next. Having completed the competitive bidding mode, let's go to the second mode. Ano? We have limited source bidding. Carry over pa rin naman siya from the RA 9184. Ano? Direct invitation siya to a set of pre-selected suppliers with known experience and proven capability. So, halos the same guidelines yan from RA 9184. It's applicable to, unfortunately, what makes this new is, ito, you have this goods, infra, and consulting. Para sa tatlo yan, ano? Okay. But you can't just make use of limited source bidding because can only use this under certain conditions. Ano? First is for highly specialized or complex goods and consulting services, obtainable only from limited number of sources. Kukunti lang ang meron yan. Ibig sabihin, these are specialized specialties. Ano? Or for major plant components, ano? Limited to known eligible bidders to maintain quality and performance of the plant as a whole, or for highly specialized infrastructure projects involving and affecting national security. So, ito yan na bago yan. Ito. Itong dalawa, dati na siya sa 9184. But this was enhanced to include limited source bidding as an option for highly specialized infra projects involving and affecting national security. Ano itong mga bago? The use of AI, with the use of drones. Ano? So, these are new. Ano? It involves national security projects. Ano? Three calendar days ang posting niya. Sabi natin, posting sa PhilJEP's website, conspicuous place. Ano? And then, except for the publication requirement, kasi may yung 7 days, naging 3 calendar days na lang. Ano? The procuring entity shall observe procedure for competitive bidding. So yung diniscuss natin, the process ng competitive bidding, ano? Except on the period of publication. Ano? Pwede pa rin naman siya, and you may actually adapt reduced timelines within the total maximum period prescribed. So, halimbawa, yung sa pre-bid, konti na lang, ano, or sa submission of bids, evaluation of post-qualification, so reduce timeline siya. Ano? It doesn't have to be the same as competitive bidding, but at reduced timelines. Yeah. Third knowledge check. As you eat your ano yan? Morning snacks, which process must the PE observe under limited source bidding? Okay. Is it market canvas from retail stores, competitive bidding, or say small value procurement? A, B, C. Ano? C? Limited source bidding pinag-uusapan natin eh. B? Competitive bidding ba? Or market canvas from retail stores? Okay. Sabi natin kanina, 2 slides before this, ano? Competitive bidding. The procuring entity may use the process from competitive bidding at reduced timelines. Competitive bidding pa rin. Ano? Kasi competitive in nature pa rin siya. Only that there are only a small number of bidders kaya unlimited source bidding. Bidding pa rin naman siya actually. Ano? Kaya lang, you don't expect so many bidders to participate but only from a list. Ito. It's actually an example of an agency who actually made use of limited source bidding. Ano? Unfortunately, and you have to be aware of this, that when you make use of limited source bidding, ano, you have to attach a list of pre-selected suppliers. Pag wala kang list of pre-selected suppliers, it's as if competitive bidding ang lumalabas dyan. So, because in this particular case, ano, there are missing supporting documents to justify limited source bidding as the appropriate procurement mode. Ang nakatas lang dito, notice of award, notice to proceed, contract agreement. Wala siyang list of pre-selected suppliers from which the winning bidder was actually taken. Ano? Okay. Then we have the next mode. Galing na siya sa RA 9184 actually. Ano? So, it's direct contracting. It does not require elaborate bidding documents. Simple lang siya. The supplier is only required to submit a price quotation or pro forma invoice together with the conditions of sale. So, it's as simple as that. Ano? You may accept that immediately or after, but limited lang siya sa goods. Wala siyang infra, hindi siya pwedeng infra, hindi siya pwedeng consulting services. Ano? And you can only make use of direct contracting under any of the following options. Tatlo lang ang pagpipilian mo. First, proprietary siya. Patented siya. Ano? Or procurement of critical components from original equipment manufacturer, specific manufacturer, supplier, or distributor, or sold by an exclusive dealer or manufacturer na walang sub-dealers selling. Ano? Tatlo lang siya. Now, in the early part of RA 9184, ano, itong exclusive dealer or manufacturer, ano, there's a case in point dito na there's one brand noon ng duplicating machine, siya lang, ano, walang iba. And if you try to take a look, anywhere you go, para-pares ang pricing niya. Okay. So, based on that, nagamit niya itong direct contracting. Sold by exclusive dealer or manufacturer which does not have sub-dealers selling at lower prices. Everywhere. Ano? Ngayon, same brand, anywhere, iba-ibang presyo. And you cannot make use of that. So, yan ang examples dito, no? Sa direct contracting. Simple siya, mas madali. All you have to do is request or prepare the request for quotation or pro forma invoice. Ano? Send request for quotation or invoice sa direct supplier. Conduct simplified negotiations. When you conduct simplified negotiations, of course, you have to take a look at, of course, the legal, technical, and financial documents. Baka mamaya hindi siya eligible, ano? Hindi siya capable. Ano? Back recommends award, to head of procuring entity. And then, of course, you have this award. Madali lang siya. Ano? Simple. Yeah. So even with those simple explanations, may knowledge check pa rin, ano? Okay. So, in which of the following scenarios is direct contracting not allowed? First, not allowed. Huh? Purchase of a patented lab device available only from original manufacturer. Letter B, procurement of book or reading materials protected by copyright. C, procurement of standard steel cabinet for a new device. Or D, acquisition of a proprietary engine component required by the equipment warranty. Not allowed is letter C. Kasi anybody can supply that. Hindi siya proprietary. Hindi siya covered ng patent. Ano? Another case, improper use of direct contracting. Kasi dito, an agency used direct contracting for van rental. Van rental, as one of the transport services, marami nag-offer niyan. So hindi ka pa pwede niyan, ano? So you can't use that actually, ano? They actually had direct contracting for first and second. In the third quarter, ginawa nilang SBP with supplier quotations proving competition was possible. Ano? Kaya na-call yung attention na rito because first 2 quarters, direct contracting. Hindi ba pwede? Bawal yan. Ano? Okay. We move on to the next as you eat. Ano? So, repeat order. Repeat order, carry over na rin siya. Repeat order. Allen. Parehas din, transport din nun. Hindi naman proprietary kasi yun, ano? Okay. Van rental actually yun, or any rental of a transport vehicle. Hindi appropriate yung direct contracting, but you can use small value. Okay. Repeat order, carry over siya from 9184, but enhanced na actually siya because dito sa repeat order, all of you know what a repeat order is. Inulit lang, ito yung sinasabi nilang, tinimbang ka nga, kulang pa rin. Yan, ganun yan. So, parang bibili ka ng papaprint ka ng t-shirt, pati ng oras, meron pa lang wala pa. Okay, additional ka. So, those are classic examples. So, ang nabago lang dito or na-enhance dito is, kasi ang dating requirement is the initial acquisition was through competitive bidding, but under RA 12009, may nadagdag na competitive modes. So, dito, goods previously procured through competitive bidding or bidding in nature. Ano yung bidding in nature? Limited source bidding, competitive dialogue, and of course, the unsolicited offer with bid matching. All of these are competitive. Yung availed of within 6 months, dati na siya. Ang nabago lang dito, take note of this, when you would go for repeat order, unit price must be equal to or lower than that provided in original contract because you are using the original contract and the prevailing market price. In other words, before you can go for repeat order, you have to come up with a simplified market scoping. Madali ang market scoping to verify ano ba yung available market price. Kasi kung ang kondisyon kasi dyan, ayan, equal to or lower than that provided sa original contract. Mas mababa sa original, mas mababa sa prevailing market price. Ganun pa rin, basta ang usapan natin, mas mababa siya sa market price sa repeat order. Pag tumaas siya sa dapat mas mababa siya sa market price. Hindi, iba na yan. Hindi pa pwede yan. Very specific siya, equal to or lower than that provided sa original contract. Okay.
Low po. Di pa po sir, we also consider inflation. So, halimbawa 6 months yung within 6 months. So, within 6 months may inflation na. So, diyan sa repeat order, dapat yung unit price must be equal to or lower than the original contract price. So, say for example, nag-market scoping. So, lahat ng items ay tumaas naman due to inflation nga. Na po. So, pwede pa bang mag-proceed sa repeat order or pwede na mag-other modes of procurement because dyan sa unit price ay hindi na po siya nag-equal or lower than, nagtaas na dahil sa inflation.
Kasi nagot niya yung ang dapat, if these are not met, you go for another mode of procurement. Then, it shall not exceed 25% of the quantity of each item's original contract. Kasi nakapako lang talaga sa 1/4. Pag sumobra dyan, wala, ibang usapan natin yun. Okay. Boss, ship, wala. Okay. So, simple lang naman ang process flow niya. You determine the need to replenish goods, Then confirm if all conditions of repeat order can be met and that the unit price is all conditions equal or lower than that provided sa original contract price, and hindi or, and lower than the prevailing market price. So, dapat mas mababa siya. So, pag iba siya, ibang usapan yun. Another mode of procurement na lalabas. Okay. Most appropriate. Okay. Pagka gusto mo DA mamaya, Okay. So, prepare the PR. Back recommends award of contract to Hope, and then you have this award. Okay. Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Sige.
Sir, good morning po. This is a follow-up question with the repeat order po.
Okay.
Kasi we are po in a medium school. So, pag nagpo-procure kami, sir, complete yung requirement, yung docs, sige yung RFQ. So, isa po sa condition para maka-repeat order is that the price must be original price or lesser.
And,
So halimbawa, sir, bumaba.
Dalawa yan.
Yung
Equal-
sa third condition niya kaya,
Equal
sir,
or lower and
Opo.
lower than. The
bumaba.
prevailing
So halimbawa po, sir, bumaba yung price niya. Magre-repeat order kami. So ano ba yung, sir, gagawa uli kami ng RFQ kasi sa small school kasi, sir, yung isa sa document na ina-attach namin sa liquidation, kailangan meron siyang 3 request for quotation. So ngayon bumaba na yung price niya. Kailangan